here we are, non-disclosed location, having the world's best milkshake. Peach, blueberry, and cheeseburger. So anyway.
I follow you now. That's what you're doing. That's what makes me happy.
Yeah. But some of the time, like, if Dad goes to this,
We're back.
he'll ask me what I want.
So here we are, and you know, how do you guys feel? And how do you feel? Good morning, good afternoon, and don't believe a word I say. I'm just your Sensie Owl Bob, having a cheeseburger here.
I forgot to tell him about that. So we saw whatever was on the clearance section that was close to being the old one.
It ain't gonna hurt you, Dave.
Yeah, it was like $9 just for 2 big fillets. That was pretty good. I had like 12 of them because it was super.
No.
When it comes to me, I'm like, just slap me a pound of it down.
Yeah. Like that green seafood. You ever been there?
I know where it's
Hey, come here.
You can just ask him like,
How's everything doing on the line?
have right now. Say it.
Are you at work or are you what today?
Bring it home frozen and bring a cooler and cook it yourself. Like they don't said they felt like it was for my dad's birthday one year. We all like however many pounds of mahi red snapper, and
I love red snapper.
yeah, because that was his favorite thing. That's what he wanted. So we got all these different kinds of fish frozen and green seafood. You hope you take this together. Yeah, it was really good. The fish is so lean and it's like really good. And I started.
So give me a call. You can be part of the show. Okay, later on then.
I've had like this.
So, oh, there it is. Are you there?
I'm here, buddy.
So, how's the world treating you?
Oh, the world is actually treating me amazingly lately.
Well, that's good.
Yeah. Everything's been working out. Kind of changed my mindset for the year. I don't know. I just shifted into this like new feeling and changing the way I think about things. And I don't know. After that, everything just came together.
Well, you know, we are no longer in the Piscean age. We're in the Aquarian age. And right now, in the next 5 years, if you can go with the flow, if things don't really bother you, you're going to do great. If everything bothers you because it's not the way it used to be, you're going to have a hard time.
Yeah. Okay. So that's part of what age?
We're in the Aquarian age.
Oh, the Aquarian. Okay.
So,
Yeah. So that's kind of exactly what I've been doing. I kind of don't really have expectations in any negative way anymore.
not a boy.
And things just kind of flow to me after that. It's been happening lately. Yeah.
Because you're not putting in any obstacles. A lot of people, you're not the only guy who calls me on the phone,
Okay.
are having real problems. They're stuck, and I kind of tell them, you should get a hold of a book, 2 different books. One's called The Celtic Irish Runes by Bloom, right?
Okay. I'm going to write that down.
Right? The Irish Runes by Bloom.
Irish Ruins by Bloom.
And the other book you go get on Amazon is the Course in Miracles.
A court?
No, the course, like taking a school.
Okay, Course in Mirror. Course in Mirror.
And the runes,
Check it out.
there's 25 different Celtic runes,
Okay.
and the book comes with them. And it'll show you how to do all kinds of throws, right? And
Yeah.
so you can either do it that way, or you can do it just the hopscotch way, where you think of a question, and then you basically, there's 25, you get those 25 pages, and you kind of flip through them, and you stop when you feel the essence of stop.
Ah,
And that will be the answer to your question.
okay. That's interesting. I like that a lot. I'm gonna
Right.
check that out.
And it's the more specific you are with the question, the more specific it will be with the answer.
Okay. Yeah, I've never heard of that. That's interesting.
Well, it's about 1 trillion years old.
Really?
Mm-hmm. The Druids,
Yeah.
the Celts.
Okay. Yeah, sounds, I mean, yeah. Based on the title.
Before
But
the
it's, yeah, I mean, it's a real thing on changing your mind and the way you think your thoughts and accepting thoughts and rejecting them.
yep.
All that mind, just controlling your own thoughts at all times really will affect your life a lot.
Well, the
And
thing,
it'll just bring things together. Because you really don't understand that, you know, well, not you, but others don't understand that, like, it's all about thought and not action physically, right? It's all about the mental.
well, not mental, you're conscious.
Right.
The mental is just the toy and the cottage cheese between your ears, right?
Exactly. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Your consciousness, that's what it really is, yeah.
Right. And because your consciousness is everybody. It's everything. It's the trees, the ants, you name it. That is the planetary conscious. And when you're in the flow, that's what you're part of.
Yeah. Yeah. That makes sense. Yeah, that's a way better way of saying it. For sure. And yeah, it's amazing though. It feels good once you actually see results
Yeah.
from it. And it's a real thing that you have to have control of.
Right.
You know, it's no one's responsible for it. And
Well, it's not your job. Your job is just to do your best. That's it. And whatever,
Exactly.
and whatever you're doing, you just do your best. You don't have to be perfect. You can't be. You just do your best.
right. Yeah, that's a good way to say it. Simplified. Yeah, I love it. And I'm gonna check that book out, and then the other one too
Right.
that I wrote down.
Yeah. Because, people call me up and want me to give them the answer. Well, I can't do
Oh
that.
yeah.
I can talk to them. I can tell them stories. I can, and when I tell stories, people basically fall asleep.
Yeah, they don't. You gotta process the story. It doesn't matter who where it's coming from,
Right,
or
right.
if it's on the phone or in person.
And
When you tell people your stories, yeah, they have to take an hour, like an hour after you talk,
Right.
think about it again. Think about it again. Think about what you discussed,
Right.
and go through it. And all those discussions are what make the world better, right? And, talking to people and giving advice. Yeah.
Yep. And it's one story at a time.
Yeah, exactly. It's the best. That's what everyone needs. They need a story.
Yep. I mean, that's
Process.
any great philosopher or spiritual leader or any of the above basically was telling you a story. I mean, when Jesus, when he started out, he was parsing the scriptures. And the only people who kind of understood him were the priests and the Pharisees, who were jealous. So he realized he had to change up and basically tell stories.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, it's awesome. It's
Good.
amazing. Stories are great.
I want you to tell a story. I'm going to mosey over to the soda machine, and you tell the audience a story. Let's hear a story from you.
All right, I'll tell them a story.
Yep.
Yeah, so when I first learned about how powerful the consciousness is in your mind, right, and your thoughts, is when I started to really pay attention to it, apply it to my own life. I was about 25, and then I was struggling. I had a bad job. I didn't have a lot of money. I was working. Moving forward. Then I learned about how controlling your thoughts and what you think in every moment and changing them as needed to more positive thoughts and better ways of thinking. That really changed everything, I started applying that in my own life, and I got really good results because, I got a better job making more than double what I made at that time within like a month of learning about this. And, having a positive outlook on everything you do, even though you do run into problems, but you navigate those, right? That really changes your life.
And that mind state you're talking about is conscious intent.
Yes, that's it. Yeah, that's the definition.
Because you don't want the meat puppet mind to get a hold of anything, because it will just go on and on and on, and you'll get nowhere.
Right, and when you're in this flow of accepting what you need being given to you, and knowing that whatever you need will always be given to you with ease. Right? That is when you step into that consciousness, the flow.
Mm-hmm.
And things will just come to you better than you ever accepted eventually, as you stay in the flow. And that is what will bring you whatever you really need and you're satisfied with in life. Everything satisfied with in life. In a good way, positive way, then, that'll come to you.
And that's because you're letting go. You're letting go of your ego, your need to control. When you let go of that need to control, everything will work out fine.
Right, like surrendering to God.
Yep, surrendering to God. Yep.
Yeah, it's an amazing thing. I think that's a good story, though. Yeah, right when I started learning about this and applying it, I got a way better job, like a month later.
And the other better
that's what I
thing,
needed, right?
well, you got more than a good job. The good job was just a relative dynamic of you having that relationship with the Creator.
Right, because that's right.
That's the great gift. The job just is a thing that came on the side.
Of course, yeah. That wasn't the most important part, but things in your life will come together. That's kind of what I was getting at.
Yeah,
For sure, yeah. For sure. That's the most important part, But this is just something that I needed at the time. Like, I was actually struggling. I had a really shitty car, but, I couldn't get around well for what I needed. I had to work. I was like 25. I can't just not have money, But that's how it went, and that's what I needed at the time. And now I'm settled in, and that's really not what I need at this moment. It just comes and goes. But what you need will be there. What you need will be there.
Yep.
It's cool. So what about you, Bob? Give me a story about when you were younger or something, when you learned about this, how you really started to apply it in your life.
Well, I was real blessed in that the first 11 years of my life were, it was like growing up in Auschwitz, right?
Okay.
And not, I mean, my neighborhood was great. I was growing up in Harlem and there were all these great people around me, but when I was born a blue baby. You know, I was being strangled by my umbilical cord. And I would have died like the other three before me. And because that was my mom's version of birth control.
Okay.
When she would get pregnant, she would start drinking a fifth of scotch or vodka every day, and smoking a carton of cigarettes every other day. You know, like right. And then the baby would, miscarriage, by the 5th to the 20th week. So that was her form of abortion. And I lived. And so I basically lived through that. And so this doctor, who basically invented infant critical care, made sure I was born alive. And then she took care of me for 10 years. But I was kind of blind. I was kind of deaf. I couldn't speak. I could barely breathe.
Wow, so this lady really knew how to therapeutically.
Yeah, she was. Yeah, therapy.
Yeah, heal you.
Right.
And using her.
That
is awesome.
I was her big challenge. And then my mother and father were very involved in the politics of the Catholic Church, the power, the monetary power of the Catholic Church. And so I was, I was the last one, and so I was going to be the priest of the family. So by 10, I was, studying Latin and Greek and stuff like that.
Okay.
And so I had a really challenging life, but I had all these great people around me, and I wasn't with my parents or my brothers and sisters until I was about 7 or 8. So I didn't get, I didn't experience the trauma of my family. By the time I started to live with them, I just looked at them as character actors, right? Because the more important people in my life were my grandmother and Cardinal Cushing and Dr. Black and Mamo and a few others.
Okay.
And I was a really, really small kid. I was like a shrimp. And so no one ever noticed me. So for those first 10 or 11 years, I didn't say anything. I just listened. And that's how I learned to be observant. And that was and then other people observed that I was observant and then taught me the real skill of observation. And so that's kind of what I did with my younger life, but constantly up until I was 16, there were people who were so scared of me, so frightened of me, and they were grown-up people, and they tried to kill me. I mean, literally tried to kill me a number of times. And so I escaped all of those, right? So.
Yeah. You came out strong.
Yep.
Yeah, being strong, that's awesome. And so that's kind of your story to start now. Like, do you think learning Greek, this is just going back to when you said you had to learn Greek and Latin. Do you think that had a big impact on your life as far as your ability to speak and learn?
Oh yeah, because
Okay.
pretty much everything in the Western world is based on Greek and Latin. And,
It is, yeah, right. It is. Science, everything.
yep. And during the old time, during Jesus' times and before, like the Egyptian times, Greek, like how everyone in the world basically speaks English, right?
Yeah.
And English is like the business language, So everyone kind of speaks it, right? And now Chinese is becoming that. And back in the day, French was that too. So basically,
French, you said French was too?
yeah, it was a diplomatic language.
Okay.
It was a
Really?
it was a diplomatic language up until the 1950s. So anyway,
Yeah.
when you know the roots of where words come from, you get to understand what the word really means.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, right. Every word in English is derived from Latin, right?
And that's derivative of Greek. So, and English has a lot of French and German in it, and so it has those things too. So as long as you know the etymology of the word, you understand the power of the word. And in the Bible, in Genesis, the first thing, and in the beginning there was the Word, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yep. Okay. So that's interesting, yeah.
And all of the holy books, like Hebrew and Greek and Latin, and also Egyptian and Mesopotamian, their alphabets are numerological, right? Numbers. And so every word is a coded essence. And when you want to understand a code, you have to know the key. So if you know the etymology of the word and where that word came from and what it originally meant, that's the key to the code of the language. Like spelling, right? Spelling is a spell. It's a magic spell. It holds, like in legal tender, it holds, power over it. Like
there's a power force behind it.
Right.
Yeah.
So
I
anyway.
mean, it's serious. That's why, like, when those people go to court,
Yeah.
and what is it, admiralty law?
Yep. And when you go to the
really
courthouse,
take it to another level by knowing the language.
yes, and that's, admiralty law is basically the law of slaves, ownership, and so we are just slaves.
Yeah. And that's how the courts work, yeah.
Well,
So slaves. I
so,
mean, we've always been slaves, yeah.
like if you ever want to,
Better off in a way, right? In some certain ways, yes, or else you'll be on the streets. You have to work, you have to...
right.
I mean, you can't just have like a homestead, most likely.
Well, you
People
can.
can't afford to buy land.
No, you can. You just have to figure out. There's always a place that's cheap. And there.
I know, Alan. I have to find one. And when I'm ready, I'm gonna pick you up and we're gonna go look. I'm serious.
Good.
Yeah. Well, I'll pick you up and because if I'm gonna buy land, I want to look kind of in the south. and I would like to drive down and check places out for a couple days or something, you know, drive around.
In the next 5 to 10 years, there are going to be massive changes in everything. And so, you know, wait for 5 or 10 years.
Yeah, I will.
And the thing is to, do you have a 401k?
Yes, I do.
Well, you should get it put into gold.
I should. I'm going to talk to because brokers do that, certain brokers, right? Like,
Anyone who has got money has a good portion of it in gold. But see, the thing is that none of the material world really matters, because there have been times when our government passed laws stating that the average person can't own gold, can't hold gold. So, I mean, it's, you know, it's a rigged game, basically. So, okay, tell another story. I'm heading back to the soda machine.
okay.
I'm leaving the audience with you.
Hey, where are you going?
I'm going to the soda machine.
Okay.
I'll be right back. So tell a story.
Okay. Yeah, so to continue on my story, when I started really applying that to my life, I had more of a change than just, you know, getting a job. Things I needed, like I said, everything you need will be given to you.
But that's like another case of
From there, I just kept getting more and more better things in my life, things needed in my life that I really wouldn't think would come.
So why was that? Why, before you let things go, why did you feel the need that you had to hold on so strong?
Okay. I think I was too attached to. When I say traumatic things in my life, I don't mean like that doesn't mean like a crazy chaotic thing in my life. Traumatic things can be smaller, you know. So I want to say traumatic events hold you back, but it can be the littlest things.
Yeah.
And your mind will be in this loop, right? Where it's like a feedback.
Yes,
You need to have the feedback loop.
if they
almost
gave
to
you-
control what you're thinking, and that feedback loop is just negative. So you're attached to it.
Yeah.
And letting go is just not having expectation after that for a while. You're controlling your thoughts, you know?
Yeah.
And as you control your thoughts and do what you need to do in your life, but that doesn't mean stop living, but
It just means to be in the flow.
yeah, you're in the flow state, so you're not worried about it.
Right.
So it's just the way it is. So that letting go of expectation, I guess, in a simplified manner, or way of saying it, yeah, letting go of expectations and not being held on this idea of, oh, this could happen or that could happen. Yeah. So that's the part you need to do is let go. Let go. And yeah, other than that, you just continue on and you keep working, progressing yourself, always educate yourself. That's kind of how to go about it. Letting go is the hardest part of that. And once you do, it'll all come together.
But Cameron, it's like, when y'all get out here and spot sweep this a little bit, there's stuff everywhere.
yeah.
I got that Matt Jack.
Bob, you there?
You still there, kiddo?
there?
Yeah, I'm sitting down. Yeah. The crowd's sauntering in. I've gotten my sandwich. And I'm going to take off. I have other little errands to do before it gets late in the day.
Okay.
So I'll talk to you later.
Yeah, let's talk soon, buddy.
Yeah, maybe tonight.
Have a good day.
Maybe tonight.
Yeah, I'll be up all night. So.
Oh, okay. Catch you later, buddy.
Okay, see ya.
Okay, gang. That's it. There's only one of you left. I'm going to try and do another show later.